Hey guys, it's Bina, and today I want to go over my new strategy for the Gravedigger's Cove, where I was able to get over 1,500 small gems, which is the metric that you look for when deciding whether or not you have been efficient with your Gravediggers. So, there's two things I want to talk about here. One is this strategy, and the other one is going to be the investment of time versus the power that you get in Gravediggers, and should you be doing the entire thing. So first, let's go over the strategy to get you 1,500 gems. So what you're doing here is you are using Rain of Arrows on archery, and I was using Static Charge and Lighting Totems. So essentially, offense that stay behind and lingers in rooms, because we are gonna go from room to room very, very fast. So I don't know if this is the best setup of offense to use there, but I was using Lighting Totems with more range and also 1 times more amount of bolts, and then Static Charge with the charge, and then it spreads the lightning across the battlefield. So what I'm doing is the first room you have to stay the entire time until he tells you to leave. Then you go into when he tells you to leave the first room, you talk to him again, go into the second room, and then there you only grab the chests, and then you go to the next room. You do this until you have grabbed all of the chests in Gravedigger's Cove. The chest contains the bigger gems, which are worth 10 times the small gems. So you make sure that you grab all the small chests, and then you just run from room to room to room, like you see me doing on screen. With the you need 2 monograms for this. One is going to be on your amulet for extra amount of potions per stats that you have. So for me, I'm stacking wisdom, so it's going to be an extra 1 potion per 50 wisdom, and then you are going to use the boots monogram that gives you movement speed per potion. That alongside Rain of Arrows on archery lets you attack while moving, and it has like really good range, and it also lingers quite a bit because your archers, your phantom archers that stay on the battlefield, well, they will keep shooting arrows for a little bit. Don't forget to also spec your passive tree for the empowered Rain of Arrows. So empowered Rain of Arrows on the passive tree will make it a bigger AoE and shoot more arrows. So as you see me doing here, I just go from room to room, talk to the guy, go back room to room. I just shoot 1 time, go back, go to another room, and that is how you do it. It basically becomes, instead of a snooze fest, it becomes an actual, non-stop action for the Gravediggers. Now, let's talk about, is this worth it even? Like, is Gravedigger even worth it? I have tried to make a lot of calculations for whether or not Gravediggers is worth your time or not, based on the amount of time spent in Rupture, the average amount of Elven Capital keys you could have gotten in those 10-minute Ruptures, the time taken for the Elven Capital, and what you gain from it in terms of power, the time it takes to get Zol done as well, and how much power you get from Zol, and also taking into consideration that you might get on average like maybe 1 slam. It's slightly more, but like 1 slam on your purple gear, because you're doing Zols and then you're getting slammed as well. So is Gravediggers worth it? I think overall it might be, but it also might not be, because there's a lot of other factors too, even though I considered all of these factors. Okay, so here, as you can see, I've got more than 1,500 small gems of each, which is the best Gravediggers run I've ever done, but this is very easily doable again if you use the same strategy. Now, the other strategy is doing Gravediggers kind of like in a similar way, where the first room you stay the entire time, and then you'll go to the other rooms, and then you only grab the big chests, and you do this for every room, then you leave immediately, right? You leave immediately, open up the next one. So it takes you about half the time, and you get a bit, like maybe about half the resource, or maybe a little bit more. And you can spend the rest of your time getting more elven keys, elven fragments, scrolls to push up your elven capital keys. I think Gravediggers is great in the early game. I do think that once you get to a certain point in higher Ruptures especially, it will probably be less and less and less worth, since you will get an average of more and more keys for the elven capitals. The big upside of Gravediggers is that it gives you a lot of boss damage. So if your build lacks a lot of boss damage, so for example you're not magery and you're not phasing, then okay. But I think for Season 3, Gravediggers lost a lot of its appeal in terms of raw damage output, in terms of raw damage that you can gain from it. So I would say Gravediggers, do it if you like it. It still numerically seems to be pretty good, but I think as you get higher in Rupture, I don't know the exact point, it will get less and less effective. So I have stopped doing my Gravediggers with the entire timer. I only do half of it because I want to grab the 2 tablets that are in it, the imbued Dwarven Rune tablets. So I grab the Dwarven Rune tablets, I use up my keys, I grab the small gems and the big gems, all the chests, and then I leave and I come back. So that is pretty much all I do. And I have now cleared Rupture 259. So that's just gonna give you some sort of a not that I say that you should only do this after Rupture 259. I would probably do this before, but after a certain amount of Elven Capitals, you certainly want to like well, at least that's what I think, that you want to only do half of the Gravediggers and use your time in the Rupture instead, doing and more farming for Elven Capital keys and Archon runs and such and such and such. So that's the new thing that I discovered for Gravediggers. I hope you, try it out, see if you can get even better results than me. Maybe someone can get 1700 gems, and that would be like, that might push it up in terms of time spent per power gained. And yeah, I'll see you guys